What's poppin'? It's your girl Ceethababe, and I'm back at it again with another YouTube video. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, let's just get into it. Today's video is going to be a movie review. Yay! It's a good old Tubi movie review. Well, the movie that I'm going to be reviewing today is called A Good Man, and it was released in 2023. Okay, and just as a precursor, I do want to add that I am not a professional movie reviewer. These are all literally just my own thoughts and opinions about said movie. So let's get into it. The scene opens up with Ethan talking to his therapist about how his views on relationships are improving. Therapy is good. Therapy is good. Ethan tells his friend that he's gonna try out this restaurant. The restaurant is called Hibachi Go. So Ethan gets to the restaurant, he's waiting in line, and there's a woman already at the cashier trying to like buy her food, but her card didn't decline 3 times already, and she's getting an attitude with the cashier like, we'll try it again. And the cashier is just like, girl, like, this didn't decline 3 times already. Like, you want to go for a 4th time? Okay, like, sure. She sends it through a 4th time. It declines again. The lady at the register just has an attitude, you know what I'm saying? And Ethan decides that he's going to be, he's going to be a good Samaritan and he's going to pay it forward. So he's like, okay, let me pay for it. And she's like, who are you? Like, her attitude is just so stank. Like, her attitude is just so stank. I'm sorry. Her attitude is just so freaking stank, even with him trying to help her and pay for her things. So he pays for it. His car goes through, of course. And, you know, that's basically the end of that. She does not say thank you. She tells him, like, I hope you don't think this means that I owe you anything. And he's like, even if it's just a class act, he's just being a gentleman. He's like, no, of course not. Like, you know, I'm just paying it forward, blah, 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 blah. And then in this scene, he also made a joke about how his card never declines because he said his card never declines because he pays his bills on time. Why would you say that after she just got her card declined 4 times? He's like, oh, like, sorry, like, not to say that you don't pay your bills on time, of course, but she just has, like, she's just still stank. She doesn't say thank you. She made a joke about his mom, like, on the way out, and he asked her name, and she was just like, no, like, absolutely not. So she leaves, and Ethan finds himself being attracted to this woman. Of course. He doesn't know why, but he's like, for some reason, I like her. Okay, I forgot to mention. So he gave her his business card. And she said, oh, I'm probably never going to use it. Like, she was just so stank. Like, they made it very, very hard to like her in the beginning. I was just like, bitch, I wouldn't have paid nothing for you to eat. And so she calls the office. So we figure out her name is Ari, and she calls the office looking for a real estate agent, and she makes a joke about her debit card declining or whatever. And Ethan says, okay, well, you know, we're gonna have to like meet in person or something like that. And they schedule a date for 8 p.m. that night. Hi, kitty. Hi. Yeah, they schedule a date for that night, and she shows up. This bitch is so rude and just inconsiderate. And Ethan, he a way better person than me because I would have did. So she shows up at approximately 8:41 p.m. Their date was at 8 o'clock. From the scene that I saw, she did not give him any notice that she was going to be late. She didn't say, hey, I'm running late, blah, 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 blah. She just showed up at 8:41 and just knew that he was going to be standing there. And I mean, I think that says more about Ethan than anything, because she already knew that you would be waiting there. She knew you didn't have anything better to do. She's not dressed in the dress code for this restaurant. So he takes her to another place where he says that he's like an investor, part investor of the place or whatever. And she says, oh, it's nice, you know, blah, blah, blah. They start talking about why they're single. And she tells him about her ex-boyfriend. He frequently put her life in danger. And the last time before he went to jail, I think she said that he got into a shootout while she was in the car with him and then went on a high-speed chase. So he ended up going to jail for the high-speed chase and had a gun charge. And she says that his street name is She says his street name is Chaos with a K. And they kind of go back and forth about that. He's like, you know, chaos doesn't actually start with a K. And she was like, what do you mean? Like, the word is literally chaos. Like she genuinely doesn't know how chaos is spelled. And he was like, also, like, you don't see anything wrong with dating a man. The nigga's name is Chaos. He's essentially telling you what he's gonna bring to the relationship. And she was just like, no. What's wrong with that? He tells her that he was previously married for 6 years and his wife basically cheated on him. He also tells her that he's working through it in therapy. And he starts to become, you know, you can tell that he's a little uncomfortable with this conversation. And, you know, she tells him she's so damn insensitive and just callous and just obnoxious. She's just like, oh, you don't have to get so sensitive. Like, obviously, if somebody tells you they're in therapy for something, that is then not your cue to tell them how sensitive they are about it. You have to, like, I would assume that a mom that's in therapy for some is obviously going to be sensitive about said topic. But she's just such a bird. She's just such a bird. Like, I really just had a hard time liking her character at first because she was just obnoxious, just irritating as recapping the dates with their friends, and it's kind of cutting back and forth or whatever. Ari tells her friend that she can't be with no soft ass nigga. You can't be with no soft ass nigga, but you can date a nigga named Chaos who, per your words, frequently puts your life in danger. I don't know, sis. I don't know. Maybe sis just can't be helped. So it cuts back to Ethan's friend talking to Ethan, and he just is hoping that Ethan did not cry on this date from talking about his ex. And Ethan says that they talked about it, but he did not cry. Yeah, you didn't cry, but he did get emotional. And it's like, yeah, I'm sorry. I just don't know how to feel about that. When they're done talking to each of their friends, they both say, you know, I like Ethan, or I like Ari for some reason. They both say that. I like them. I like him for some reason. I like her for some reason. Like, it literally, I don't see how these two people would be connecting. Like, maybe it's a opposites attract type of thing, but I just feel like she was way too inconsiderate and way too callous, like, not only with her actions but with her words, and he's just like way too open. Like, I feel like they're both on opposite ends of the spectrum. And I know technically, like, Ethan is supposed to be getting therapy and stuff like that, but because he is so maybe sis had a point. Maybe she had a point when she said you don't have to be so sensitive, but maybe him being sensitive about the situation is I tell her that maybe he shouldn't. I won't say maybe he shouldn't date, because a lot of people say that you don't know if your therapy is working unless you are exposed to certain things that will force you to use the things that you learn in therapy. Okay, fine. Maybe he shouldn't be with her though. Like, I feel like that is way too extreme for him, especially coming out of something like that. Maybe you need somebody who's a little bit more considerate of your situation and like what you're going through. Like, not her, because she's a no limit soldier. She's not in her soft girl era at all. She is a no limit soldier. After the scene where they say, okay, we like each other for some reason, they cue the fucking montage, and he's sending flowers to her job. They're going on picnic dates. They drinking wine. They even have like a scene in there where they did like the trench coat and office like sex scene. They have sex in the office while he's at work and stuff like that. He buys her a car, and then the montage ends with them being on this boat. So they're on the boat, and they're just kind of talking, and you know, stuff like that. And he says something. I guess they're talking about all the drug dealers she dated. She apparently dated 3 drug dealers, and she doesn't think that's a lot of drug dealers today. It is. That's quite a few. He's, you know, you can tell that the scene is leading up to something. So he says that he knows that they're opposites, but she has him open and ready to love again. How? I don't know. I don't know what's been said in between this time between these two. I don't know what's been happening. You know, I mean, I know like they went out on dates and shit like that, but it's just like you would think two people who are like so fundamentally opposites like that, that there would be some cues that shit wasn't gonna work out. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he gets down on one knee and proposes to her, and she she hesitates. She hesitates on the yes. She does not come out and just say yes. She just kind of like stuck, like she's just stuck. Sis is stuck, and he's just like, come on, baby, like come on, baby, say something. Like, you hurt my feelings. And she's like, yes, I'll marry you. Somebody is hesitating to say yes to you for a proposal, like that's a reason for you to stand up on both of your legs, you know, proceed to stand up and pick your face up off the floor and say, you know what, maybe this ain't for me. You know what, maybe I'm rushing things. But he just wanted her to say yes real bad, you know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate because it's like, from that you could clearly tell that like he was more invested in it than she was. And this is where the problems begin. Although you could argue that the problems began way before this, which I would agree with. But anyways, so it cuts over to the scene where she's talking to her friend, and she said that she doesn't know if she wants to be with Ethan. And she said that she feels like she's with him because he's safe, and that she's still in love with her ex-boyfriend, Chaos. And her friend gives her some pretty good advice. She's like, if you're not into him, then, you know, maybe you should stop leading him on. And Ari says that she might learn to love Ethan over time, to which her friend responds, I'm glad I'm not Ethan. Girl, me too, because we could take a page out of Sierra's book, because it's just like, if you don't love him by now, there's nothing. If you don't love him by now, after all the dates you've gone on, after all the time you guys have spent together, you know, all the gifts that he's bought you, if you still don't feel it, there's nothing that this man can do or say that is going to make you just magically one day fall for him, you know? And it's kind of sad to think about Ethan and Ari having a conversation in the kitchen, and he tells her that he wants her to sell the shop and to raise his kids so they can start a family. So obviously some people would consider Ethan to be traditional because he's saying he wants to take care of his family and he wants her to just, you know, stay at home and raise the kids. And Ari's not ready to give that up yet. She says that she likes her independence. She's not ready to give up her independence, and she goes off on this whole tangent talking about how that's what niggas always do. They get a girl, get her to be dependent on them, and then start being controlling and start cheating. I feel like that right there was I feel like that conversation from her perspective is just taken out of context completely, because it wasn't like he was being like forceful with it. I don't feel like he was being forceful with it at all, and I feel like she over. I can understand if he was trying to strong arm her, and be like, you know, like, girl, you not working, and you're gonna take care of my kids, or I'ma hurt you. You know, it wasn't like that, you know. So that's why I feel like it was completely taken out of proportion, but whatever. Oh yeah, so she said they start getting controlling and they start they start getting hoes. And Ethan's like, why do I need hoes if I have you? I was surprised he said that. I really was. And he tells her that he would never cheat on her and he has never cheated a day in his life. And she's like, oh, all niggas cheat. I feel like a lot of times when Ari talks, it's her trauma speaking. Like, she's speaking from a place of trauma, and she don't be understanding that sometimes a lot of the stuff that she done been through don't apply to everybody. Ethan basically explains to her that he would never cheat on her because he saw what cheating did to his mother in his father's relationship, and he has a trauma from that, from a child and seeing his mom getting cheated on, and also has a lot of trauma from his past marriage that he is in therapy for right now. So he says he would never inflict that kind of pain on anyone else. And he says, if anything, this is a little bit of foreshadowing, I guess. He says, if anything, he has to worry about Ari cheating on him. Boy, do you. Now the scene cuts over to Ari in the shop with her friends, and she's doing hair, she's working, and basically she says that she doesn't want to be asked out without the shop. And also she complains about him correcting her grammar. Now at this point in the movie, her complaining about him correcting her grammar seems like her just trying to like find reasons to kind of like back out of the relationship, to try to make it seem like maybe it's something that she shouldn't do. But I don't think that she needed any she didn't need any other reason to get out of that relationship other than the fact that she just did not want to be in it. You know, that's a good reason for not wanting to be in a relationship. It's just, you just don't want to. That's a good reason. And her friend is basically like, girl, well, do you want my man? Do you want my problems? Because my nigga just crashed my car. You're complaining about your man correcting your grammar, and mine just crashed my freaking car. Yeah. Yeah. But then her friend said something. She was like, some man is better than no man. And that right there, my friends, is where I'm going to have to disagree. You really do not have to be with somebody all the time. Like, it's okay to be by yourself. It's okay to be single. And I would argue that maybe if they had spent some time with themselves, maybe Ari wouldn't be picking people who she don't want to be with. And maybe you wouldn't be stuck with a man that crashed it. Oh, God. I absolutely disagree. You literally do not need to be with a man all the time, every moment, every waking moment of your life. You do not need to be with a man. That is horrible advice. And it's like the man that you got is crashing your car. He crashed your car. That's better than having no man. You would have had a full car. You would have had an uncrashed car if you didn't have a man. So that right there is just like, that was bad advice. That was bad advice. Nobody take that advice. If you are a young girl, don't take that advice. It's okay to be by yourself. It's okay to work on yourself. I would argue that both of them, Ari and the best friend, should have been working on themselves. And they probably wouldn't find themselves deeply entrenched in issues like this if they had. Ari's friend made a funny joke earlier, and she was just like, Ari was like, oh, if you talk about switching men again, like you gonna have to catch these hands. And her friend was like, girl, the flat irons barely catch your hands. And I thought that was so fucking funny, because what better proof than that than your car declining 4 times at Hibachi Go? Sis hands really not working on that flat iron. Like, the friend didn't lie not one time. Ari is going out to go get lunch, I believe. And as she's coming out of the shop, she runs into Chaos. We might just call him K from now on, because I believe that's what they called him anyways. So she runs into K. He's been out for 3 months. He doesn't believe that she's happily engaged. He says that he knows her and there's nothing that can come in between the bond that they have. He doesn't believe that she's completely over him, and I would have to say that's a great observation, and she absolutely is not over him. She's trying her best to hold it together here, but you know, it was just it was just reeking off of her, if that makes sense. Like, she's not happy, you know, and she's definitely not over her ex. She's just moving on to somebody else, I guess. I don't know if she just moved on to somebody else. So he takes her phone and puts his number in her phone. And he says that he promises that he's gonna be good. We'll see, Mr. Chaos. Your name is Chaos. How much good could you do? So she goes home to have dinner with Ethan. Ari goes home to have dinner with Ethan. She doesn't mention that she ran into Kay at all, because he asked her, did anything happen today? You know, did anything eventful happen at work? She was like, no, you know, just regular shop stuff. He starts talking about the kids thing again, and she disagrees once again. And at this point, I get it. Like, I understand. She disagrees. She doesn't want kids right now. That's what he doesn't understand. He thinks that because they got engaged, that means that, you know, she's supposed to give up working and she's supposed to just come home and have the kids and raise a family. Granted, maybe that plan would have worked a little bit better if y'all would have discussed this beforehand. Like, did y'all talk to each other at all? Did y'all talk about anything? Like, y'all didn't have no conversations prior to this about what y'all wanted out of marriage, kids, whatever. What's the timeline looking like that for that? You know, and that part, I don't believe that's all on Ari. I feel like that's on Ethan too, because that is important for you to talk to somebody about before you propose to them. And maybe if he had known that information, that would have prevented him from proposing so soon. And maybe he just didn't want to know that. Maybe you just wanted to ignore it, you know, so that you could just go ahead with your delusions, because that's basically what it is. If you just assume something and assume that's what's going to happen, and you have that made up in your mind without checking with somebody, that's a little delusional. They're arguing at the dinner table, and he calls her ghetto. He calls her ghetto for not wanting a legacy right away. I feel like a lot of people use that word legacy too loosely when they talk about having kids. Words mean things. And also, I'm starting to feel like So remember earlier I was saying, like, at that point when he had corrected her grammar, like, I thought he was just being nitpicky, like, but him calling her ghetto and picking at her grammar now kind of seems like a little microaggression, and I'm not really feeling that. It's given that you uppity, it's given that you sedity, you know what I'm saying? That's what it's given. You think you better than her. It's very much giving that. It's very much giving, like, he looks down on her, and it's just like, that's crazy that you're sitting up here calling her ghetto as if you did not know that she was ghetto. You knew she was like this when you went after her. That's the whole reason why you liked her. She's like the exact opposite of you. So for you to get into an argument with her and say, oh, well, you're ghetto and you don't use correct grammar, that's just like, that's not cool. That's weird. And Ethan ends up having to take another call. Ari tells him to just go ahead and take the call or whatever. Apparently, during this time, Ethan had not been having a lot of time for Ari anyways. He'd been working a lot. So he goes ahead and steps away from the dinner table to go take his work call. And Ari ends up responding to Mr. Chaos at the dinner table. And Chaos basically asks for another chance, and she agrees to meet with him for a minute the next day. But when she's texting, like, she ends up walking outside to basically go finish like her text conversation with Mr. Chaos, and Ethan is watching her from the window like a damn crazy person. It's pretty scary. It's giving murder suicide. That's what it's giving. Ari and Chaos meet up the next day at their old spot, which is basically like this spot overlooking the water and something like that. And Chaos starts asking her, you know, what kind of guy do you have? And she says that he's a good guy. Kay says there's no such thing as good guys. And then so Ari proceeds to ask Kay, like, well, what are you? And he's like, I'm the nigga you in love with. He kind of snapped with that one. he kind of snapped with that one. He kind of snapped with that one. Like, yeah. After he says that, he kisses her. And they ended up having in the car while Ethan is blowing her phone up. Apparently he's been blowing her phone up for 40 minutes while she's having in the car with Mr. Chaos. I really just can't get over this name. I'm sorry. I don't think I'm ever going to get over that. She finally decides to answer her phone. She runs back to her car to answer. He asks her, why didn't you answer your phone? I've been blowing you up for 40 minutes. You know, I was hoping we could grab some lunch. And she lies and says that she left her phone in the car while she was in the mall. And he was like, if you left your phone in the car while you were in the mall, then why didn't you go back to the car to get it when you realized you didn't have it on you? And she's like, damn, like, what's with the third degree? Like, why are you asking me all these questions? So she gets an attitude, and he's just like, I'm sorry, like, I don't want to make you uncomfortable. He's starting to have suspicions, and it's triggering him. It's triggering him, and he just won't come out and say it. So they get off the phone, and it goes to a scene where Ethan is sitting down talking to his best friend, and he basically tells him, I think Ari is cheating on me. His best friend tries to give Ari the benefit of the doubt. He's basically like, bruh, like, you know, you just gotta trust her, you know, all this work that you've been doing in therapy. You know, he was trying to be a good friend, but it's like, damn, like, the one time we needed you to be on some other shit, you were not. It's crazy. This is the same day, by the way. She's having a conversation with her best friend now about what she did, how she cheated on Ethan with Chaos, and her best friend tells her that she's stupid. She tells her, you're fucking stupid. I agree. She's fucking stupid. And her best friend is basically reminding her, like, how good she has it. She was like, do you know how many women out here want a man that do this for them, do that for them? You know what I'm saying? Want to take care of them. They don't have to worry about him cheating and blah, blah, blah. And she's just like, I know, like, but I can't help it. Like, I just got caught up in a moment, and you know I'm not over chaos. I cannot take this man's name seriously. She's like, you know, I'm not over K. In this scene, she actually admits that she was never over Chaos and that she basically was just using Ethan to try to move on. Yeah, I feel like that right there should have been her cue to leave. I mean, although we have the cues, you know, way before they came, I feel like that was an even bigger cue to like say, you know what, maybe I'm too far gone. Maybe I'm way off in the deep end. Maybe I do need to recollect and try to get my priorities together. But she says that Ethan is sexually boring and that Kay fucks her like a gangsta. I can't even believe this. I understand, like, you can't force yourself to be attracted to somebody that you're not attracted to. You can't force yourself to want a relationship with somebody who you have no chemistry with. So I understand that 100%, but it's like, why not say that? I'm just gonna say, I feel like on both ends of the spectrum, Ari and Ethan have an issue communicating with each other. And she's in love with Kay, and he does it better to her than Ethan. And yeah. And Ari says that Ethan is too good and that maybe she needs something bad. You need something bad. You think that's what you need? You think you need something bad? Okay, so let me tell you something. You were the one that said this man frequently put your life in danger. How can it get worse than that? How can it get worse? He put your life in danger so much that when he went to jail, you stopped talking to him. How much worse could it get? Maybe you need somebody who rides around and gets into shootouts while you're in the passenger seat. It's beyond me. It is beyond me. Ethan has a meeting with a contractor. The contractor so happens to be Mr. Chaos. Mr. Chaos is the contractor. But Ethan does not know that. Mr. Chaos doesn't know who he is yet. But as they're wrapping this meeting up, Chaos sees a picture of Ethan and Ari on Ethan's desk, and he kind of makes a comment like, like, it's funny, like, right place, right time, or some bullshit like that. Ethan finally comes home. This is literally the same day. The same day that she met up with Chaos and did it to him is the same day Chaos came and met with Ethan, and this is the same day when Ethan goes home to talk to her. So now he's going home to talk to her, and the best friend leaves them to speak to each other, and he's asking her all these, you know, questions or whatever, and she's irritated. You know, she irritated with him. She don't like him. She don't want to be with him. And she snaps on him and calls him insecure. It's like, yeah, he might be insecure, but he has a damn good reason to be. He has a damn good reason to be suspicious. He has a damn good reason to be insecure. And it's just like kind of messed up that she was like gaslighting him. She was gaslighting the fuck out this nigga. Like, it's crazy because like his intuition, like he was right on the money. And he is just, he has so much, he has so much trust in her and in the shit that he learns in therapy that he is literally thinking to himself, I'm fucking losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. I'm acting crazy. I'm acting irrational. I'm not trusting her. Like, damn, like I'm fucking up. Meanwhile, you really out here doing what he think you doing. And you got the nerve. You literally probably still have the stench of this nigga on you. And you're gonna sit up in your nigga's face and call him insecure. Oh, she's a fucking villain. She's just a villain. She's a villain. He makes a comment and Ethan makes a comment to her during this argument, and it's like, we all know what type of dudes you're used to. And he calls her lingo ghetto once again and says that she's not in the hood anymore. He says that they're not in the hood anymore. Okay. Another microaggression. I understand now that him taking jabs at her class and the way she talks is the way that he fights. That's the way that I think he responds to it, because she's calling him insecure and stuff like that. The only way that he can really jab back at her is to call her stupid and poor, and that's basically what he does. Okay, so she says that she's gonna go upstairs and have a bath and soak. While she's soaking, she's having flashbacks. The bitch having flashbacks of what her and Mr. Chaos was doing earlier. And Ethan, of course, ruins it. And, you know, he comes in and he gives her the keys to a new salon that he purchased for her. And he says that he apologizes and that he feels like he's been taking out his past issues on her. Brother man, if only you knew. And he says that he promises that he's gonna do better. He says that he wants to have sex. Ari tells him that she's not really in the mood right now, and he's just like, baby, I need to feel close to you. And okay, so now they're doing it, but the scene is so awkward. You can tell that she is uncomfortable. She had made a comment earlier that I forgot to mention, that Kay was sore, and so her friend was like, you better hope that your man don't come home and want to do it. And unfortunately he did. And so when they're doing it, you can tell that she's uncomfortable and stuff like that. He frequently asks her, like, are you okay? Are you know, is it good? And she's like, just keep going. Just hurry up. After the sex, you know, Ethan rolls over and he's like, Ari, why does it feel like you're not here? Like, it feels like you're completely just somewhere else. And she says she just doesn't want to talk. I kind of feel like, I feel that. Shut the fuck up. Chaos and Ethan meet again for business in this next scene. And they're basically talking, and Chaos mentions that he married his first baby mama while he was locked up. And he asks Ethan how long he's been engaged. I think Ethan tells him like only a couple months. Okay, so here's the thing. Chaos knows that Ethan is Ari's fiance. That's why he's asking this question. Ethan still doesn't know who this is. He still doesn't know that Kevin, because that's his real name. How you go from Kevin to Chaos? Anyways, but I guess that's why Chaos starts with a K. So yeah, but isn't it messed up how this man literally married his first baby mother while he was locked up, and now he's here with his ex, cheating on his wife now with his ex, he's putting everybody's relationship in jeopardy. He's putting everybody's relationship in jeopardy. His, hers. He's chaos for real. He is the complete embodiment of chaos. Chaos says that he never got over his ex, obviously talking about Ari, and that she's a rider both ways. Ari texts Chaos while he's still in this meeting with Ethan. She texts him and she says that she wants to see him. And this text literally comes after Ethan gives Chaos advice. Chaos asks him, like, you know, can you give me if you give any advice as me being newlywed or something like that. And he was like, yeah, RTC, respect, trust, and communication, brother. Respect, trust, and communication while your bitch is texting this nigga saying that she want him to come over. Okay, and then after that scene, chaos. I'm sorry, I have this written down incorrectly in my notes. Chaos and Ari have sex again. And so they do that, and then Ari comes strolling in the house. I guess it's kind of late. Ethan is in the what room is that? It looked like a film room, like a room where they watch movies and shit like that. He was sitting there in the dark, you know, drinking liquor, waiting on her to come home. Wasn't nothing playing on TV. It was kind of scary and sad at the same time. And he questions her, of course. She catches in a little attitude like she always do. And she like, damn nigga, like, I'm not your ex. Why you so insecure? And he says, I'm just trying to take care of you. And she's like, I don't need to be fucking taken care of. So he lets her know that he bought her an investment property, and he says, you know, I'm just trying to take care of you. And she says, I don't need to be taken care of. And she don't want it. Ethan says that they should probably go on a break. He has to go out of town on a work trip anyways, so during that time they can have a break from each other. And she's like, cool, you do your thing and I'm gonna do mine. You gonna handle your business and I'm gonna handle mine. At that same moment, okay, in that same scene, Ethan leaves the room and Ari texts Chaos and tells him to come over for dinner. She's just sitting on the edge of her bed in her robe, and she says, fuck this. Okay, so she was sitting home alone, and she was thinking to herself, like, fuck that, I ain't finna be sitting home alone. Okay, so Chaos comes over and she cooks for him. She makes his favorite meal, and they don't even eat it. They just head upstairs and start having rough, sweaty, passionate, you know what I mean, in this man's bed, in this man's house. Crazy. Like, y'all really have to go and see that scene. Like, it was just so disrespectful. At the same time, so now the scenes are switching between her having sex at the house with this man, having hot, sweaty, passionate sex with this man at the house, and Ethan on his way home early from his work trip. And his friend asked him, like, you know, how are you doing? Do you still think she's cheating? And Ethan says, no, he doesn't think Ari's cheating because he trusts her. Then obviously the montage keeps going back and forth between Ari having sex, hot, passionate, sweaty sex in this man's bed, and him rolling up to the house. Ethan comes home. He calls Ari's name, to no response. Okay, he's moving through the house very slowly. You can hear the moans from downstairs. Like, this man was really putting it down. And Ethan is just walking through the house all sluggishly, all sad and dejectedly. And he just looks sad and hurt and disappointed. I literally wrote this in my notes. He looks so sad and disappointed, and he's walking so slow. And he gets to the door. He gets to the door. He's just standing outside the door with his hand on the door, just crying. And at one point, he puts his hand over his mouth to prevent them from hearing him. But it's like, fuck that. He slowly starts walking back downstairs and gets his gun. He gets his gun from the cabinet. He walks back upstairs. He opens the door. They're still doing it. They don't even notice that he opened the door. Then Chaos looks at him. They're still doing it while he says this. He's like, damn, boss, like, you sure home early from that work trip? What? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Oh, this man's name is so fitting. Then Ari's like, oh my God. She's like, oh my God. And she starts crying. She's like, I'm so sorry. This is my favorite scene in the movie. He yells at her, is like, shut the fuck up.
Even baby, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Shut the fuck up.
He has the gun. He has the gun in his hand. He's like, shut the fuck. Mr. Chaos starts taunting Ethan. He's like, yeah, like, you know, this my woman, blah, 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 blah. Or whatever, talking mess to Ethan. And Ethan's like, man, like, I try to put you on, like, I'm doing business with you and you gonna do this. And they start going back and forth. He hit the nigga upside the head with the gun, knock him out or whatever. Ari caught herself defending her man. She jumped on Ethan's back, you know, and start hitting him on top of the head or whatever. Ethan flip her over, boom, knock her upside the head, slice out for everybody. Hey, the next scene opens up. They're in some dark room. Okay, Ethan is hitting the bottle, and he's listening to a video that tells him the best way to dispose of a body. They started talking about pigs. They started talking about solving the bodies in acid. Like, it was crazy. It's just crazy. Clearly, this man has had a psychotic break. Okay, and he has Mr. Chaos and Miss Ari bound, tied up, and with duct tape over their mouths. Okay, and he wakes them up and tells them how they're gonna die in a crematorium that his brother owns. He's clearly on a psychotic break. Chaos says Ethan doesn't know who he's fucking with. You don't know who you fucking with. Okay, and they're just talking now, and Ethan says, like, damn, like, you was putting it down, brother. I ain't never heard her moan like that. And Ethan says that if Ari didn't want to be with him, then why didn't she just say that? And that's all she had to say. And so at this point, he's taking the duct tape off of her mouth as well. And she says that she was confused, and he's like, confused about what? Confused about what? Mr. Kevin doesn't have the duct tape on his mouth anymore, and he's laughing. He's calling Ethan a bitch ass nigga, and says that Ari likes thug love. And obviously Ari's getting pissed off because it's like, this nigga is holding a gun. He has us duct tape. Why are you still taunting him? So Ari tells him to shut up. And yeah, so Ethan took that as disrespect. Took that as clear disrespect and busts up Mr. Chaos's knee. Busts that knee right on up, right? Okay, and he's like, this is what you like. This is what you like. You want me to be a thug. This is how thugs act. You don't like this? You not having fun no more? It's not fun that I bust up this nigga's knee and he's screaming and crying. No, Ethan, no. He slaps Ari. But he then, after he slaps Ari, he tells her that Kevin has a wife and kids. And Ethan, while they were asleep, while these two were knocked out, lights out, Ethan had texted Chaos's wife and kids off of his phone, off of Chaos's phone, telling them to come to his new boss's house. Okay, so the wife show up. It apparently was just supposed to be her. She came with the kid too. Ooh, very unfortunate. So the kid and the wife get tied up too. Ethan starts breaking it down for everyone, basically saying how they're all connected. Like, oh, this is Chaos's wife, who's also his baby mama. He got married when they were in prison. And then this is my fiance, who I'm engaged with, but she fucking on Chaos, blah, 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 blah. Basically, he got the little board with all the shit connecting each other, right? He burns Chaos in front of them. He burns like bad boy on his chest or some bullshit like that. He kills the son first, shoots the son. Chaos is still alive, by the way. Kills the son. Everybody's in anguish. Everybody's in anguish. Kills the wife. Everybody's still in anguish. And he goes off. Ethan goes off on this rant about how being a good guy did nothing for him his whole life. So now he's just gonna act crazy since that's what the bitch is like. I think he either stabs Ari or he burns her in the leg. I'm actually not sure. But before, I think, or after that happens, I can't remember. I'm sorry. Before or after he burns her on the leg, she's trying to convince him. She's like, baby, we can kill this nigga together and we can go and we can just act like nothing ever happened. So Chaos is still alive in the back, like, damn, bitch, like, you give in that fast? You give in that fast? Nigga, what do you mean? That fast? You got knocked out. She got knocked out. Your wife and your kid are dead. They're dead. What do you mean give up that fast? His name is Chaos for a reason. He really just don't get it. He really just don't get it. Get it. So Chaos is still taunting Mr. Ethan. Why, I don't know. He's still taunting Ethan, and he lets Ethan know, you gonna kill her while she got my baby all up in her. After he says that, that kind of pretty much sealed his deal. Ethan ends up stabbing Mr. Chaos to death. Okay, but while he's stabbing Mr. Chaos, Ari has gotten out of her restraints and she does something to Kevin. I think either she shoots him or she hits him. I mean, she does something to Ethan. Either she shoots him or she stabs him, but she ends up running and getting away. He's like, damn, like, you shot me in my arm, or some shit like that. Okay, so she runs in the house and hides. Ethan is now looking for her throughout the house, calling out for her, saying, baby, you know, this shit done went too far. He hears her running upstairs, and he's like, okay, we playing the game of hide and seek, huh? You want to play hide and seek? Okay. Okay. So he's looking for her in the house. He opens up the closet. She jumps out at him, like slaps him or stabs him, does something to him. He dropped the gun. She runs. She pick it up. She pointing the gun at him now. And she tells him that she knows she's wrong for cheating, but this whole situation is crazy. It's just crazy. Ethan, of course, he stands up, and now they're wrestling with the gun. And you know, they're tussling with the gun, and the gun goes off and the scene goes black. So the scene goes black. We don't know who's gonna come up on the screen next. We don't know who survived. The next scene opens with a lady who is on a blind date, and she says that she hopes that he's not ugly, that he has money, and that he's not crazy. Sister girl. And do you know who showed up on the next on the next slide? Do you know who showed up? It was Ethan. He killed everyone. Well, at least from what it looked like. It looked like if the gun went off, then that means he got the better of her, shot her, killed her. That's why he now on this blind date. Oh, child. I hope that means that we're gonna get a second, I hope that means it's gonna be a sequel. It should go completely without saying that it does not matter how many times you get cheated on. You cannot kill people because they hurt your feelings. You can't murder people, Ethan. You can't hold them against their will. The only thing you can do is do your due diligence to choose people who actively choose you back. And the biggest mistake that he made was choosing somebody who did not choose him as much as he chose her. It's not like she hid that. The signs were literally there. And maybe thinking back on it, that's why he was in therapy. Maybe you in therapy because you delusional. and you get crazy when shit don't work out, when your delusions don't play out the way that they supposed to, when you don't romanticize everything about the situation and about the person who you're pursuing, and it didn't work out the way you wanted to, you snap. They never really said what happened to the ex-wife either, so it's like that's kind of making me think, like, did he kill the ex-wife too? That's what it's making me think. You trying to make it work with people who are not for you, and you're not getting the desired results. It's like, you're not supposed to be with those people anyways. You're not supposed to be with her anyways, and you trying to therapize. You trying to use therapy on this woman who she just not feeling you. Do they have to die because you didn't understand the assignment? Yeah. I actually like this movie. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It made me laugh. And it kept me entertained. Like I said, I absolutely love Tubi movies. And if you are not on Tubi watching Tubi movies, you need to run, not walk. Go get you a little glass of wine or whatever you like to enjoy, and just sit down and watch some Tubi movies, and just don't take it so seriously. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these movies are independently made and they don't have huge budgets and stuff like that, but they, by golly, they are entertaining. So I just want to thank y'all for coming back to my channel. Thank you for supporting me. You know, I will have more of these Tubi movie reviews on the way for y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share my videos so so I can get out there. And I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.